At the end of the 1981 NBA season, the world watched as Moses Malone averaged 22.3 points, 15.7 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks per game in an NBA Finals matchup where his Houston Rockets would eventually fall short.
People here are looking forward to next year, and this man, our MVP this year by CBS,
to the Boston Celtics in 6 games. This was Larry Bird's first NBA championship, where he averaged 21.9 points, 14 rebounds, 6.1 assists, and 2.3 steals per game in the playoffs, and 15.3 points, 15.3 rebounds, and 7 assists per game in the NBA Finals. His teammate Cedric Maxwell would take home the Finals MVP trophy. As you can imagine, the hype around the new and powerful Boston Celtics was at an all-time high. With Mikal Parrish and the up-and-coming Larry Bird, the Celtics were primed for a long-lasting basketball dynasty and ready to run it back for another title run. Meanwhile, Moses Malone was leaving the 1981 season empty-handed, determined to return to the finals and win his first championship.
The NBA's premier blue-collar worker, center Moses Malone, the relentless force who had single-handedly carried the mediocre Houston Rockets to the finals.
The Rockets themselves were a good team, led by Moses Malone, with Mike Dunleavy, Calvin Murphy, and Elvin Hayes as important members of the team, among others. Unfortunately for Moses Malone, the regular season did not go as planned. While he did average 31.1 points and 14.7 rebounds with 1.8 assists per game, the Houston Rockets would only finish 5th in the Western Conference with a record of 46-36. To make matters worse, the Rockets would go on to lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Seattle Supersonics. Larry Bird and the Celtics, on the other hand, had an historic season, going 63-19, earning themselves the top spot in the Eastern Conference and the entire NBA. Bird averaged 22.9 points, 10.9 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game. But despite this, Moses Malone won the 1981-1982 regular season MVP award. But did he deserve it? I'm Rylan with NBA Informatics, the fusion of technology and NBA basketball. I've set out on a quest to find MVP anomalies. In other words, MVP winners that the media went outside of their normal criteria to select. If you are familiar with this channel, we use technology and data to extract and understand information about the NBA. For this analysis, I created thousands of machine learning models to analyze the voting behavior of the media. As you may have guessed, the 1982 NBA season stood out as an anomaly. According to the models, Larry Bird should have won the regular season MVP over Moses Malone. But why? If you're like me, the first thing to look at to evaluate an MVP is their performance in the playoffs. Yes, I know the award is technically a regular season award, but if a player is the most valuable player in 82 games, then it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect this player to perform well in the postseason. In that sense, the playoffs act as a form of validation. Clearly, Larry Bird is the winner here since his team made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and Moses Malone's team lost in the first round. But hindsight is 20/20, and as far as I am aware, the media did not know the outcome of the playoffs before voting. Even if they did, ideally, they should have only based their votes for the award on the regular season. So, if we ignore the playoffs, what could be the reason our model believes Larry Bird should have won the award over Moses Malone? This was going to be the second MVP award for Moses Malone and his first in the media voting era. Larry Bird at this point in his career had not won any of his MVPs. Just looking at the statistics, both players had a fantastic year. Moses Malone averaged more points, rebounds, and blocks per game than Larry Bird, but Larry Bird averaged more assists and steals with fewer turnovers than Moses Malone, and did it in fewer minutes per game. Throughout the years, the media has favored the best players on the best teams to win the MVP, and Larry Bird fits this criterion perfectly. His team was by far the best in the regular season, and he had the best numbers on that team. In any other year, the media might have selected Larry Bird to win his first MVP in the 1982 NBA season. Moses Malone, unfortunately, kind of fits the criteria of a great player on a bad team.
You can still put up great numbers on a bad team. Trust me, we've had a lot of players in NBA history.
And they've never been in an MVP talk, so stop it.
Well,
Stop it. No, they have not. No, they have not.
That's helping our point, Shaq.
No doubt his numbers were amazing, but the performance of his team was just underwhelming. At only 10 games above 500 with a record of 46 and 36, the 1982 Houston Rockets were 7th in the entire NBA. It's clear that in most years, the MVP can be thought of as a team award, and unlike what Shaq thinks, it does depend a lot on the success of the team, at least according to how the media has voted historically. However, there is one other player that I feel deserves some consideration here. The previous year's MVP, Julius Erving. He kind of falls in the middle. His team had great success, finishing second in the East behind Larry Bird's Boston Celtics, and he put up some great MVP type numbers, averaging 24.4 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists, 2 steals, and 1.7 blocks, which are of note. He averaged more steals and blocks with fewer turnovers than either Larry Bird or Moses Malone. However, when I plugged his numbers into the model, the algorithm still seems to think that Larry Bird was the most deserving of the award for 1982. We know what the model says, but what do I think? I'm somewhat divided. On the one hand, I do believe that team wins are very important for the MVP. I mean, how else would you define value besides winning? On the other hand, Moses Malone did have a monster year. His points per game and rebounds really stand out, and some of his advanced statistics are very impressive as well. But I won't sit on the fence for you, I'll decide. This makes me really understand how hard it must have been to vote for the MVP this season. I really feel for those voters because all three of these players have a great case. Alright, feel free to chastise me in the comments. I think Julius Erving should have won the MVP in the 1981-1982 season. That's who I would have voted for. To me, he fits everything well. His team was successful, he was a standout player, especially on the defensive end, and an incredible player on the offensive end. I think his stats give him a slight edge over Larry Bird, and I think his team success gives him a slight edge over Moses Malone. I would have voted Dr. J, Julius Erving number 1, Moses Malone number 2, and Larry Bird number 3. But I better stop thinking about it too much before I change my mind, because this is definitely a close race. But who do you agree with? Was the robot machine learning model correct in picking Larry Bird? Was the media correct in picking Moses Malone, the actual winner? Or do you agree with me and think that Dr. J should have been voted as the MVP of the 1982 season? Let me know what you think. In either case, I think we have proven that the 1982 MVP was a toss-up and a difficult decision for the voters. I'm definitely not mad that Moses Malone won, and wouldn't even say he was not deserving of the award. He was, but he was an MVP anomaly due to his team success being subpar. What do you think? Please hit subscribe so you don't miss more of my MVP analysis videos. Thanks for watching.
And Holland's on ML. That time it was reversed.